So you've got a hypothesis you want to test, right? You've got an idea, you think by implementing this idea, you're going to get an uplift in conversions, but you're not sure, so you want to test. How do you go about it? How do you set up an A/B test? In this video, I'm going to be going through how to set up an A/B test using Google Optimize. So the first thing to start off with is just going to Google Optimize, so optimize.google.com, and you're going to land onto a page that looks like this once you sign up. So I'm going to use an example of a test I set up a while ago for my e-commerce brand and show you exactly how I set it up so you can do the same for your brand. So once you go into optimize.google.com, you're going to get onto a page that looks like this. You're probably not going to have any tests running, so yours is going to look blank. So the first thing you want to do is create an experience. So before we create an experience, let me just show you the ins and outs of the test I created here, just to give you an idea of what we're trying to do. So the test we created was to test two different, so basically the same product page for Wild Upgrade. And what we're trying to test is this widget over here. So I'm just going to remove this over here. So we're trying to test whether this will perform better than another version of the landing page that has a video ask of my business partner. So if you don't know what video ask is what I use to create this widget over here. And you can think about it as an interactive video version of Typeform. Very powerful tool for increasing the level of trust on your website and also to convey messages that you would have done otherwise using text in video format. So highly recommend checking it out. That's video ask. But what we're trying to do here is to test the same landing page but with different video asks. One with my business partner Matt and the other video ask with myself. So in order to do that, we set up this test over here, and you might be trying to test something totally different. It could be the color of your CTA button. It could be different texts on different pages on the same page. So whatever it is, what you may want to do is set up a landing page to duplicate the existing landing page that you've got, which is what I have over here. You can duplicate it and then put the thing that you want to change. So basically change the variant on the duplicated landing page. So this is the variant we want to test, right? So we change this as the variant. You leave everything else the same. Make sure you're not changing multiple things. The only thing you want to change is the variant you want to test. And then you want to ensure that your URL is unique. In this case, I've added an M here because my business partner is called Matt to enable us identify this page. So we're testing this URL versus this one. And then what you want to do is then when you come in here, you have the URLs you want to test, then you create an experience. And I'm just going to call this demo for the sake of this demonstration. I'm going to call it demo. So this is what we're trying to do. In this case, we're going to use a redirect because what it's going to do is it's going to get the traffic from whatever traffic platform that we're going to be running traffic from, and it's going to split it. So a portion of that traffic is going to go towards the original page, and another, the second portion is going to go towards the variants. So we're going to split it in that way. So in this case, we're going to go with redirect traffic or redirect test. And then create. So what we have here is asking us for the targeting and the variant. So in terms of the variant, we're just going to say add variant. And what you want to do here is put the page of the variant. So remember, we wanted to test this URL against the original. So we're just going to put that in here. Right, so the original is this, and it's going to redirect the traffic to this, right? So click on done. And then what you want to do next is then you can then add page targeting. So for example, it's saying once the traffic meets this, then we're going to redirect. So this works fine. You should. So the next thing we're going to look at is the page targeting. Over here is saying that, this is, so as you can see here, the variants have been set up. We've got the original, we've got the variant, and we're splitting the traffic 50-50. You can decide on the weighting. Whatever weighting works for you, can be added here. So you could do 60-40, but I've gone for 50-50 over here. And then the page targeting is basically saying that, this test kickstarts when traffic hits the original page, right? Then it knows that, okay, traffic has hit this page, and what I then need to do is to, redirect half of that traffic to the variant URL. And then you can do some customizations over here. You can say, for example, I'll show you what I've done in our case. What I said was, in terms of behaviors, only test it with people who have Facebook, or traffic source is Facebook, right? So page referrer Facebook. So basically, Google Optimize looks at where the traffic is coming from, and you could say, hey, look, I just want to do this test on people who are coming from Facebook or from Google, and that way you're able to just isolate the test to those people, because you don't want to be testing people perhaps who are returning customers. You just want to maybe test it on a particular channel so the results are fairly accurate. So you can add this, but you don't have to, but that's something we've added to our test. Now, the next thing you want to focus on is we've talked about audience targeting, we've talked about page targeting, is the objective. So what objective do you want to measure here? In this case, what I really want to focus on is purchases. So I'm just going to take this over here so you can see what I'm talking about. So I can choose from a list. Or I can create custom objectives myself. So if you've integrated Google Analytics with Google Optimize, you will need to integrate this, by the way. So when you get to this place, it would ask for you to integrate. I've already integrated mine. That's why you can see it. But you can choose your Google Analytics account over here, and also choose the view that you want to focus on. So I've already integrated mine. So in your case, you probably wouldn't have yours integrated. But once you've integrated it and you've already set up goals in Google Analytics, what you can then do here is click on choose from list. Because if you click on choose from list, the goals in Google Analytics will be here. So what you can then do over here is then look at the main goals. For example, I want to test this, transactions of the total number of completed purchases on site. This one is what I want to test on. So I'll click on that. So I want to understand exactly how the widgets drive purchases. That's what I'm focusing on. And I'm not focusing on anything else. I just really want to understand how it drives purchases. However, one thing you want to be conscious of is that perhaps your site isn't driving that many purchases. So if your site isn't driving that many purchases, then one of the things that you could do is maybe step back a little bit and then do the test on add to cart, right? So maybe you don't have enough data for purchases. You could also do add to cart. So for example, you could do as an additional objective as add to cart. And this would need to be set up in Google Analytics as a goal in order to do this. So you can have that as add to cart. So that way you don't necessarily have to wait for purchase data. You can actually decipher which widgets work best based on add to cart. So, but in this case, as I said, I'm going to be going for purchases. So I'm going to remove this from the experiment. And then over here, what you want to do then is to check that the websites indeed have Google Optimize installed on them. So you would have to basically, get the code for Google Optimize, check installation, view instructions over here. So what you want to do is get this code and copy it in your head. So basically go to the header of your pages and then copy and paste the code in there. And then once you do that, you can check for the installation. If you click on check installation, you'll be able to see whether Google Optimize has been installed properly on the page. So as you can see, I've actually installed this code previously, so it's installed properly on mine. You will get this notification if yours hasn't been installed properly. So you can go back to this experience. So clicking on back to the experience, it will take us back to the A/B test we're setting up. So as you can see, everything is ticked off nicely. We've created the variants, we've added targeting rules. You don't have to add targeting rules, but I've added targeting rules just to focus on traffic that's coming from Facebook. I've linked it to analytics. That's been set up. I've set up my main objective. As I mentioned to you before, once you've linked it with analytics, then it should be possible for you to find your transactions objective within the list, right? So once you've linked it with analytics, you can choose from the list. Otherwise, you will need to create a custom objective for you using GTM. So that's been set up for purchases, and over here I've checked that I've installed it correctly. Now, if I was going to go ahead and do this test, I will just click on start, right? And if you click on start, then you're off to the races, and you can wait for the data to come in and then analyze the results to see whether one is performing better than the other. So this is exactly how we did it for Wild Upgrade. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because it's basically the same thing as we've got over here. But I hope this helped you figure out how we can run A/B tests, especially if you have any ideas, any hypothesis that you think, by implementing this, I feel we'll be able to get better performance out of our e-com store. So hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for staying till the end. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Amara, and I'm documenting my journey of scaling my e-commerce brand called Wild Upgrade. It's a supplement brand, and I'm documenting my journey. I'd love to share all my learnings with you. So if you like videos like this, do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so when next I release a video, you'll be in the know. All right, cheers, guys.